Well, my name is Andrés Portillo. As you know, I'm the founder of ATTICCA Realities. It's a young company I created 3 years ago. We're specialized in, well, we started doing virtual reality applications, but we have evolved more to digital twins and simulation applications. And now within this project, within the i4Trust framework or different projects that we're participating, we are leading the technical coordination of the consortium. And this is a project very specific. We're creating a digital twin platform specific for communication, navigation, and surveillance aeronautical equipment. And this is a type of equipment that you can find within an airport. And for example, it's used by a traffic controller to communicate from the tower control with the aircrafts, or for example, a radar to position the aircrafts in the airspace, so on and so on. The objective, well, the challenge that we want to tackle is safety, because those are safety critical pieces of equipment. And when we talk about safety, we always think about accidents and maybe people getting injured and so on. Fortunately, in the aeronautical industry, safety is have high levels of standard, so accidents with casualties don't usually happen. But let me give you an example, which is of why we're doing that and the implications of safety with this type of equipment. When we have a safety critical equipment, what happens, and if it fails or malfunctions, you have maybe your operation affected. And if the operation is affected, you may find yourself in a situation that your plane is delayed. Nobody wants his or her plane to be delayed. And you can find that the plane has to fly around the airport and waste time and waste fuel, spend lots more fuel than it should. And then that has some implications, cost effectiveness, less efficiency within the industry, so on and so on. Normally, it never goes to the point of having an accident, because accidents normally happen because of several reasons, not always because of one reason, because of several reasons that appear unexpected situation on top of another. And that's the reason why we don't want to have unexpected situations in the industry. So what if we can tackle those malfunctioning situations or failures from the beginning, before they happen? Well, the industry has been doing that forever, but now with digital twins, we can go even earlier in the process. And that's what we're doing. The specific objectives, what we can deliver to the industry in terms of deliveries. So we can have a piece of equipment and we can deliver to the ANSPs, as we call them, air navigation service providers, which are the companies that manage the airspace. It's like we can connect a piece of equipment into our digital twin. We create the digital twin, and we can deliver statistical data on the performance of the piece of equipment in a timely manner, in a systematic way, and organized. I say organized, I don't say standardized, because this information is not standardized across the industry, and that's something that's related with i4Trust. That's one thing. And the second thing, that's a hot topic now, which is is machine learning and artificial intelligence. You know, everybody's talking about that. And that's because artificial intelligence allows us to input the data coming from pieces of equipment and establish patterns of failures. In what situations this is going to fail, so it's going to allow us predict those failures. So by the end of 2023, what we're expecting is for a specific piece of equipment, radio transmitter, for example, to be able to predict one or, if possible, two common scenarios in which those equipments can fail, and in the future we'll be implementing and being able to predict more and more failures. And that's the second thing that we can deliver. And the third thing that we can deliver is, and that's very much related to digital twins, is 3D scenarios of the technical rooms or the control towers with simulation capabilities that are used, for example, to change the conditions in which the equipment is change the context of the conditions, higher the temperatures, and see how these pieces of equipment would react, or how these changes would affect them. And so we can predict and evolve and better manufacture or give advice on different situations. And also train people remotely, because those scenarios are, we can use virtual reality, for example, to, in a human-like way, interact with the things in a safe environment, so that if you unplug a virtual cable, it doesn't affect the real operation. So we can train people, for example, manufacturers in another country, and the technician is in another country, they can be chatting, and human-like way we can train people, which is very important. It's worth mentioning that the International Civil Aviation Organization, as well as the European Union, are working heavily in promoting the the sharing of data. And the sharing of data, because they know that's going to help improving the overall efficiency of the industry, which is the objectives that we have in our project, and increase safety. And what i4Trust allows us to do is first, we're creating our digital twin on the basis of a data space that we have created specifically for this CNS equipment I mentioned before. And this data space has data models, and data models may be a big word for some people. It's just a way of structuring the information. So we decide how we're going to structure the information, and if we know how the information is structured, we can tell other people how it is structured, and then more easily share the information. And that can lead to a more standardization of the industry. It's not that we're going to standardize the industry, because it's not one project that does that, it's the whole industry who's going to do that. But we can help in that process using data spaces and data models. And the second thing is the accessibility to that data space, which, as we was discussing before, is like by having a data space and data models that are going to be accessible to anyone, because our data space is going to be accessible to anyone, because the data models are open to anyone. Anyone can participate in that. I'd invite anyone who wants to talk to us and discuss on that modeling of the data. And by using one API, as we call it, one interface, because in this internet huge solutions-making environment, is like there are APIs over APIs and layers of interfaces. It becomes very complicated. It's important to have one common point in which we can understand each other. So with one API, another company with another pieces of devices can share the same type of data as we do. And the third very important point in sharing data is the identity. And that's when the iShare components become very important, because with iShare we can have one identity for each company, just one digital identity, to keep it simple. And I can access my data space, but I can access any data space of anyone with one single identity. I can publish and share my data, and sovereignty is also important, because it's not only that I can publish the data and that data is going to be available for anyone. No, the important thing is that I can keep ownership of that data, so that I can decide at any point who's going to have access to my data and on what conditions they're going to have access to my data. I can even delegate the using of that data to some other people. I can give it for free, or I can even interchange it with somebody else. And those are the reasons why i4Trust and sharing of data has been implemented in the project, and it's that important.